Congo Rainforest is not only a refuge for rare species, it is a critical link in the chain that regulates the global climate. The heavy steps of the forest elephant, the warning calls of the gorilla, the silent wing beat of the gray parrot. Each movement plays a role in maintaining an ecosystem that functions like one of Earth's oldest natural machines. But that machine is breaking down, day by day. Each hectare of forest lost releases hundreds of tons of carbon into the atmosphere. It disrupts the water cycle. It erases the habitat of hundreds of species. Congo is not just Africa's concern. It is part of the Earth's climate future. Protecting the Congo is not only about saving nature. It is about preserving the stability that all of humanity depends on. The question is no longer, should we protect the Congo rainforest? The question is, how much time do we have left to act? Wild Congo, the lair of King Kong apex predators of the Congo Jungle. The Congo River is one of the oldest and most mysterious rivers in the world. It stretches nearly 5,000 miles across Central Africa. In its depths, hundreds of feet below the surface, a prehistoric ecosystem remains largely untouched by humans. Dense tropical rainforests surround its flow. Sunlight is blocked by a thick canopy of overlapping trees. This region is one of the few places on Earth where ancient species still survive in their original habitat. Inside the Congo forest, animals are not only diverse, they possess exceptional survival traits. Most notable are the large primates, such as the eastern chimpanzee. This species uses tools to hunt and collect water. It also demonstrates complex group coordination. They use sticks to extract termites. They break hard seeds with stones. These behaviors reflect a high level of mammalian cognitive development. They are among the most intelligent primates in Africa. Their genetic lineage is biologically close to humans. On the forest floor, predators occupy key positions in the food chain. The African leopard, a solitary hunter, targets smaller animals with stealth and accuracy. It moves silently and strikes without warning. In the water, Congo crocodiles dominate. They wait motionless. They attack only when prey comes within striking range. A single bite is often enough to kill. The Congo rainforest ecosystem is not only home to primates, predators, and reptiles. It is a stage of constant threat. Animals here must adapt to extreme conditions. Living space is limited. Dangers exist at every level. With low light and thick undergrowth, survival requires advanced skills in hiding, hunting, climbing, and swimming. But the greatest threat to the Congo ecosystem does not come from within. It comes from outside. Human activity, deforestation, mining, and illegal hunting are pushing many rare species to the edge of extinction. These animals have evolved for millions of years, but they cannot adapt fast enough to the pace of human impact. The Congo River remains a symbol of a wild world struggling to survive. The animals here represent not only biodiversity, but also the harsh reality of survival, where instinct meets environmental change. Each species has its own strength, intelligence, power, patience, or hunting skill, but all face the same challenge: how to survive in an era of shrinking wilderness. Congo is more than a biological treasure. It is a warning, a reminder of how fragile Earth's ancient ecosystems truly are. The Congo River is a hidden lifeline that nourishes the second largest rainforest on Earth. It is the arena where evolutionary specialists compete for survival every day. The river is muddy and deep, reaching hundreds of feet in places. It winds through ancient rock formations that date back to when Africa was still separated from South America. The eastern chimpanzee is the primary explorer. Its long arms and flexible shoulders allow it to leap across 30-foot gaps without touching the ground. This is a major advantage in dense forests where leopards and tree snakes wait below. High intelligence enables the chimpanzee to craft sticks, fold leaves, and crack nuts with stones. These skills expand their diet during fruit shortages, but their weakness is their slow reproduction cycle. A female may give birth only 3 to 4 times in her lifetime. Losing an old-growth forest also means losing knowledge passed across generations. This causes chimpanzee populations to decline faster than expected. On the forest floor, in the dim forest, the leopard is a stealth hunter. It is small enough to move through tangled vines. It is strong enough to bring down forest antelope such as the guan. Its spotted coat breaks up its outline in dappled light. Sharp claws and powerful jaws allow it to drag prey twice its weight into the lower canopy. This reduces conflict with ground-dwelling hyenas, but each pounce consumes a large amount of energy. Repeated failure in fragmented forests forces leopards to hunt near villages, increasing the risk of retaliation. Along the riverbank, the Congo crocodile waits motionless. Its thick scales and low body reduce light reflection in the water. Making it hard to detect. Its bite force and tail whip are strong enough to stop an antelope at the water's edge. But crocodiles require sunlight to digest. When slash-and-burn farming removes riverbanks, they lose safe basking sites. Without heat, digestion slows. They become weaker and hunt less. The Congo Rainforest is the second largest ecosystem on the planet. It is a key link in the global natural network. With an area of more than 770,000 square miles, it spans multiple Central African nations. The Democratic Republic of the Congo alone holds around 60% of its total area. The forest has three main vertical layers: upper canopy, mid-layer, and understory. Each layer hosts distinct species adapted to different light, humidity, and competition levels. The trees here are not only tall but also dense. Some hardwoods grow over 200 feet high, forming a continuous canopy that blocks sunlight from reaching the ground. This dense cover keeps temperatures stable and humidity high. These are ideal conditions for countless species to thrive. But the system is fragile. If a large section is cleared, sunlight floods. This disrupts microbial balance and kills species dependent on the shaded layer. The rainforest supports extreme biodiversity. Over 10,000 plant species have been recorded. Around 30% of them are endemic, found nowhere else on Earth. This creates unique biological value, but also serious conservation challenges. Endemic species have limited ranges. If their habitat is destroyed, the entire species may go extinct. The Virunga mountain gorilla is one of the last remaining symbols of East Africa's rainforests. Since diverging from its western and eastern relatives, gorilla Beringe has adapted to elevations between 6,500 and nearly 13,000 feet. At these heights, the air is thin, the mist is constant, and the dry season vegetation is nutrient poor. Its greatest advantage is a strong muscular build suited for climbing slopes and foraging for bamboo shoots on steep mountainsides. However, its dependence on narrow highland zones turns its home range into a biological island. In appearance, the mountain gorilla is one of the heaviest primates still in existence. An adult male, known as a silverback, weighs around 440 pounds. Its arm span exceeds the height of an average adult human. The thick silver-gray hair on its back reflects daylight, acting as a visual signal to help group members identify the leader from a distance in the dense forest. The mountain gorilla's social structure is tight but adaptable. A typical group includes one dominant male, several adult females, and their offspring, ranging from 5 to 30 individuals. The mountain gorilla's diet is based mainly on soft vegetation. Approximately 85% of daily intake includes leaves, young stems, and bamboo shoots. The remainder consists of insects and decaying wood for trace minerals. Each day, the group travels an average of 1/3 of a mile in a spiral pattern. This seasonal rotation prevents overharvesting of food sources. Their fermenting digestive system efficiently processes fibrous material, but it also limits their ability to store fat. During the dry season, bamboo shoots become the primary fiber source. To find edible roots, gorillas must descend to lower elevations, increasing the risk of encountering land-clearing activity. This is a critical vulnerability because high-altitude vegetation is less diverse than lower forest zones. The ecological value of mountain gorillas goes far beyond their body size. Every day they pluck, chew, swallow, and excrete thousands of tree seeds. Seeds fall along their travel paths and germinate in gaps created by fallen trees. This maintains genetic diversity among large forest trees. As groups break branches to pass through, sunlight reaches the ground. This stimulates the growth of young shoots, an organic soil disruption process that is hard to replicate with machinery. The conservation status of mountain gorillas remains concerning despite signs of recovery. Thanks to armed patrols, snare removal, and controlled tourism, the Virunga population reached an estimated 600 individuals in 2023. The strength of the current strategy lies in combining core forest protection with community livelihoods. Locals who benefit directly from tourism are less likely to set snares. Still, the species remains critically endangered. Slow reproductive cycles, around 4 to 5 years per infant, combined with human-borne disease and climate threats to bamboo forests leave the population at risk. A single outbreak of influenza or a large-scale forest fire could immediately reverse years of recovery. The leopard of the northeastern lowland Congo forest is a prime example of ambush strategy in dense vegetation. The closed upper canopy filters sunlight into scattered beams across the forest floor. This lighting enhances the camouflage of the leopard's golden yellow coat with black rosettes, blending it into decaying grass and moss-covered trunks. This camouflage allows the leopard to shorten its approach distance without alerting its prey. Its compact body and shoulder joints tightly attached to a flexible spine allow for rapid directional shifts. This provides a major advantage in the confined space beneath the canopy. Dual-layer movement on the ground and in the trees extends the leopard's hunting range. On flat ground, it walks with elastic steps and retracts its claws to reduce leaf rustling. When climbing, it extends its claws like steel hooks to grip slippery, mossy bark. It can launch vertically along tree trunks up to 20 feet with just 2 bounds, gaining a high observation point that few large predators can reach. The trade-off is high energy expenditure. After climbing and sprinting, if an attack fails, the leopard must rest for extended periods. This reduces its hunting frequency per day. The leopard's diverse prey list reflects strong adaptability to variable food availability. Colobus monkeys, small antelope, juvenile wild pigs, and even birds and fish from shallow streams may all appear in its diet. Its typical strategy involves stalking from a distance of 30 to 40 feet. It crawls low through tangled vines. then bursts forward at speeds up to 37 miles per hour over a short range. The target is usually subdued with a throat bite that compresses the windpipe. This method is effective due to explosive speed and powerful bite force. However, the success rate hovers around 35%. Each failed attempt drains valuable energy and forces the leopard to take greater risks during the next hunt. Dragging the kill into trees serves as a second layer of defense after the ambush. Once it subdues prey weighing up to twice its own body weight, the leopard clamps the neck and uses all four limbs to pull it onto branches 16 to 23 feet above the ground. From that height, it consumes the first portion and hides the rest to eat later, avoiding conflict with hyenas or jackals. This behavior reduces competition and minimizes carcass odor. However, it demands significant pulling strength. A leopard with a forelimb injury may fail to complete this action and be forced to abandon its kill to scavengers. Ecologically, the leopard acts as a regulator of small to medium herbivore populations. When monkey or antelope numbers exceed the forest's carrying capacity, excessive browsing slows tree regeneration. By selectively preying on weaker individuals, leopards help stabilize prey populations and limit soil erosion caused by undergrowth loss. Additionally, leftover bones and organs nourish decomposer insect communities and recycle nutrients into the soil. Despite being an apex predator, the leopard is not immune to risk. Logging roads reduce forest cover, shrinking available hiding spots. Leopards must cross more open spaces, increasing the likelihood of being seen. Snares placed along antelope trails can inadvertently trap a leopard's leg, limiting its ability to climb or chase. When prey becomes scarce, leopards are forced to expand their territory. This increases overlap with neighboring adults, triggering direct confrontations. Injuries from such fights and from traps lower reproductive success, since pregnant females require consistent protein intake to support fetal development. The leopard's strength lies in its agile muscle structure. Burst speed, tree climbing ability, and broad prey range. Its weaknesses include high energy cost, reliance on thick vegetation, and risk from human traps. In an intact Congo rainforest, the leopard's full skill set functions smoothly, maintaining order in the forest's lower layers. But when the forest is fragmented into plots, ambush shadows thin out, and camouflage loses its effectiveness. The leopard's role as the predator beneath the leaves becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. The eastern swamplands of the Congo form a unique ecosystem, unlike any other tropical rainforest. Located along the eastern edge of the Congo Basin, this area experiences no dry season. The average elevation ranges from 980 to 300 feet above sea level, low enough to retain water year-round, yet high enough to maintain a stable hydrological system. Major tributaries of the Congo River weave through the lowlands. They carry sediment and moisture that continuously reshape and restore habitats for the entire plant and animal community. The climate is defined by consistently high humidity, without any dry intervals requiring plants or animals to retreat or enter dormancy. Annual rainfall exceeds 79 inches, keeping vegetation in a state of constant growth. Under these conditions, the air remains saturated with water vapor. High soil moisture means most plants do not need deep roots. However, this also limits the presence of larger species that are not adapted to long-term flooding. Primates such as long-tailed monkeys, rare freshwater otters, and semi-aquatic snakes all rely on this environment for survival. Small amphibians and reptiles thrive due to abundant water and stable temperatures. Waterbirds are also common and contribute to biological balance through their roles in the food web. However, the swamp's soft terrain and limited sunlight also restrict the presence of large herbivores, keeping hoofed mammal populations small. In the flooded forests of eastern Congo, where tree trunks are submerged in still water and the canopy blocks direct sunlight, the Angola colobus, Colobus angolensis, is one of the most distinctive primate species. Its black fur, contrasted by bold white markings like shoulder capes and chin beards, stands out sharply against the green foliage. Living almost entirely in the upper canopy, this species rarely appears in scientific footage, but with a few fluid movements across treetop branches, the black and white colobus reveals its survival strategy, exploiting a vertical space with the least competition in a forest that remains perpetually wet. Their hand structure is key to their success. A reduced thumb forms a small nub that allows the hand to grip branches in a circular hold, reducing slipping on moss-covered bark. Long forearms and highly mobile shoulders enable leaps of over 6 feet with a single swing. Few leaf-eating primates move as quickly between branches 30 feet above the ground. Their strength lies in speed and grip. The trade-off is vulnerability. A typical Angola colobus group includes one adult male, several females, and their offspring, ranging from 6 to 15 individuals. When leopards or African crowned eagles appear, the male emits a dry, low-pitched roar that echoes through dense foliage to alert the group. In response, the group quickly retreats to higher branches beyond the reach of predators. The bonobo, found only in the swampy forest south of the Congo River, is a keystone species in the Salonga ecosystem. More than 40% of the global population lives in this vast national park, where forest corridors remain largely undisturbed by motorized roads. This concentrated presence provides protection through limited human disturbance in the core zone, but it also creates vulnerability. If a large forest area is lost to fire or illegal logging, the entire population could be affected. Is its matriarchal social structure. Adult females form alliances and maintain group order, while males inherit status through their mothers. This system reduces internal violence compared to male-dominated chimpanzee societies and improves group stability during food shortages. Its strength lies in lower injury rates and higher infant survival, but it also creates a weakness. The loss of one dominant female due to hunting or disease can destabilize alliances, split the group, and reduce defense capabilities. The bonobo's diet leans heavily toward fruit, but is flexible enough to survive low fruit seasons. More than half of daily intake consists of figs and other fruits from the Moraceae family. The rest includes young leaves, shoots, insects, and occasionally bird hatchlings. Bonobos use fermentation to break down cellulose, but this method is less efficient than digesting sugar-rich food. When fruit scarcity lasts, groups must travel farther, averaging 5 to 3 miles daily, leading to increased energy demands and greater exposure to snares along forest edges. This ensures that seedlings grow outside the shade of the previous generation, maintaining vertical forest structure. When bonobos break branches to build night nests, fallen debris opens small canopy gaps. These light patches stimulate seed germination in the understory. Without bonobos, lower story regeneration slows down. The bonobo's main weakness lies in its own biology, an exceptionally slow reproductive cycle. Gestation lasts 8 months. Infants breastfeed for up to 4 years. Each female produces only about 3 offspring in her lifetime. This means that poaching just a few reproductive individuals can drastically reduce population recovery rates. In addition, bonobos avoid swimming across large rivers and rarely cross open forest edges. When logging roads divide forests into smaller patches, groups become isolated in forest islands. This increases inbreeding and the chance of conflict with humans. Currently, the bonobo's greatest advantage is that most of its population remains within Salonga, a highly protected and remote zone. Most notably, it is home to the western lowland gorilla, gorilla. This is the smallest bodied subspecies of gorilla. Yet adult males can still weigh up to 400 pounds and reach nearly 5 feet 11 inches in height. Mature males are identified by a distinctive silver saddle of hair along their backs. The western lowland gorilla became genetically isolated around 2 million years ago. It is well adapted to lowland forest environments, including areas that flood seasonally. Its social structure is simple. One dominant male leads a group of several females and their offspring. This setup minimizes internal conflict, but also makes the group vulnerable to collapse if the silverback dies. In such cases, new males may kill unweaned infants to bring females back into estrus more quickly, directly affecting population recovery. Their diet is unique. Roughly 60% of their intake consists of young leaves and shoots, especially from gilbertiodendron trees. They also eat fallen fruit, young raffia stems, herbaceous plants, and occasionally termites. Their large jaws, strong bite force, and fermentative digestion allow them to break down high-fiber food efficiently. This reduces dietary competition with frugivores, but it also increases dependence on a few broadleaf tree species, many of which are targeted for commercial logging. Gorillas travel only short distances each day within a stable home range. Foraging takes up most of their daily activity. By consuming large quantities of leaves and fruit, they help disperse seeds and create small canopy gaps, ideal for young trees to grow. Their long-term presence accelerates organic matter recycling and enriches forest soil. Today, the biggest threats come from logging and bushmeat hunting. Commercial extraction of key tree species like Entandrophragma congons and Paracopsis alata is occurring at high rates. As logging sites disappear, the gorilla's primary food sources decline. This forces them to expand their foraging range, increasing the risk of human encounters and snare injuries. In addition, the greatest strength of the Northwest lowland forest is its vast area, intact habitat, and dense food web, centered around the western lowland gorilla. This species plays a key role in shaping forest structure and supporting regeneration. The western lowland gorilla is a seasonal omnivore that adjusts its diet based on fruit ripeness and water availability. During the rainy season, the forest offers abundant figs, chestnuts, and oil-rich seeds. Their diet shifts towards sugars and fats. They break low branches, gather ripe fruit, and crack seeds using wide molars. In the dry season, with fewer fallen fruits, they switch to mature leaves, bark, and lignin-rich herbs. They also consume termites and ants to supplement protein. Thanks to a two-chambered fermenting stomach, they can extract energy from cellulose. This adaptation helps them survive periods of fruit scarcity. However, it requires consuming large amounts of rough plant matter, which increases foraging time and makes them more visible to hunters. Elhost's monkey, a member of the genus Alacrospis, inhabits mist-covered forest slopes across the Rwenzori Range and the eastern side of the Congo Basin. It occupies elevations between 3 Its fur is almost entirely black, except for a bright white collar around the neck and cheeks. This contrasting pattern allows individuals to identify each other quickly in dim light. Its long legs and tail, nearly as long as its body, provide balance when leaping across tilted branches or climbing over fallen roots. Social cohesion is maintained through grooming and side-to-side body contact. These behaviors occur multiple times per hour. They remove parasites and reduce tension during fruit shortages. This behavior enables quick conflict resolution, preventing group separation. The African forest elephant, Loxodonta cyclodes, is one of the few large mammals compact enough to move through the dense woodlands of the Congo Basin. It lives mainly in humid forests and permanent swamps, where soft mud covers the ground nearly year-round. Its rounded ears, height of only 8 to 10 feet at the shoulder, and thinner tusks allow adults to pass easily through narrow paths beneath the canopy. This gives it a distinct advantage over larger savanna elephants, which get caught in low branches. However, weighing between 410,000 pounds, forest elephants require large amounts of energy and must forage over long distances daily. A typical matriarchal group includes 6 to 12 individuals. led by the oldest and most experienced female. Her presence reduces the time needed to find deep water and mineral licks and helps optimize routes through dense forest, an important benefit for calves. The downside is centralized knowledge. If the matriarch is killed or trapped, the group becomes disoriented, splits apart, and young elephants may become stuck in mud or caught in snares. Mature males leave the group after adolescence. This separation reduces competition within the herd, but makes solitary bulls more vulnerable to poacher snares when following the scent of females. Forest elephants rely primarily on infrasound communication, using 1535 Hz sound waves that travel through the ground and reach distances of up to 6 miles. This wide communication range allows multiple herds to coordinate movement and avoid overlapping feeding grounds. It is a critical advantage. Forest elephants consume about 330 pounds of leaves, grasses, bark, and fruit each day. This makes them the dominant plant processors of the swamp. In the dry season, when leaves are sparse and grasses emerge from the water, they use their tusks to strip bark from Entandra phragma and Paracopsis trees. The intercambium layer is rich in minerals, especially calcium. This behavior helps them maintain mineral reserves, but it weakens mature trees, making them more likely to fall. This is both a survival strategy and a vulnerability. In logged forest edges, bark becomes scarce, forcing herds to raid cassava fields, increasing human-elephant conflict. Without forest elephants, undergrowth becomes dominated by thorny acacias and thick reeds. This reduces habitat diversity and narrows the food chain for termites, frugivorous birds, and primates. Despite their ecological role, forest elephants are under extreme pressure from ivory poaching. Their tusks are denser, finer, and more suitable for carving than those of savanna elephants. Wire traps and landmines placed along travel paths have caused population declines of about 86% in just 50 years. Their reproductive cycle is slow. Females are pregnant for 22 months and typically wait at least 4 years before giving birth again. Recovery cannot keep pace with the rate of loss. In 2021, the Ecological classified the species as critically endangered. The African dwarf crocodile, Osteolaemus tetraspes, inhabits deep muddy channels in the western swamp forests of the Congo. It is the smallest species in the Crocodilidae family. Adults measure between 5 and 6 feet long and weigh 40 to 70 pounds. Its short body, armored back, wide head, and broad snout allow it to maneuver through narrow waterways where larger fish cannot enter. Its compact body also lets it hide completely beneath dense root systems, where larger predators cannot reach. However, This small size limits its ability to compete with larger crocodiles when habitats overlap. Its back is covered with thick armor made of keratinized scales and bony osteoderms. This protects it from impacts with decaying logs. The belly scales are looser and more flexible, which helps it crawl through sticky mud. Its wide feet and short webbing increase thrust in shallow water. Raised ridges above the eyes shield its pupils from sediment and silt, an advantage in muddy flow conditions. Its main weakness is heat regulation. The thick armor restricts heat dissipation. In warm water, it must surface more often, exposing its head, behavior that increases its risk of being shot at swamp entry points. Ecologically, the dwarf crocodile acts as a population filter for small fish and amphibians. By reducing the number of egg-eating fish and tadpoles, it helps maintain balanced aquatic insect populations, which prevents mosquito outbreaks. Leftover prey remains provide protein for crabs, snails, and bacteria, supporting decomposition chains. In oxygen-poor mud, crocodile waste adds microminerals that feed algae at the swamp bottom. Without the dwarf crocodile, populations of small fish can surge. These fish consume large amounts of pollinating insect larvae, indirectly affecting the reproduction of water birds. The total regional population is estimated at fewer than 25,000 individuals and continues to decline. The main threats are poaching for leather. Despite the crocodile's small size, its fine skin pattern is prized by the craft market, and habitat loss from riverside gold mines and palm oil plantations. Its slow growth rate, taking up to 7 years to reach maturity, makes recovery difficult. However, due to its reclusive habits, it rarely comes into direct conflict with farmers, as long as water routes remain unobstructed. The Congo gray parrot, Psittacus erythacus, is a hook-billed bird often considered the natural hard drive of Central African rainforests. Adults reach a body length of about 13 inches, with a wingspan close to 18 inches. The entire body is covered in uniform silvery gray feathers. A short, bright red tail creates contrast, making individuals visible to flock members in the canopy. Only birds older than 2 years have pale yellow eyes. However, their lightweight structure also makes them vulnerable if their tail feathers are clipped in trafficking traps. The gray parrot's strongest trait is its capacity to memorize and reproduce sound. With a highly flexible syrinx and an enlarged forebrain, it can store hundreds of audio patterns. Flocks typically range from 20 to 200 individuals. During the day, they split into smaller groups to forage. At dusk, they regroup at fixed sleeping trees and exchange information through long whistles, short screeches, and throaty calls. Tight acoustic bonds allow the flock to adapt to food sources that shift with the seasons. But this behavior depends on the presence of large old trees with wide crowns that can support the entire group. When these trees fall, the roosting site is lost, forcing the birds to relocate, raising energy costs and the risk of encountering missed nets. One foot secures the fruit while the beak strips off the hard shell in seconds. Discarded peels and seed embryos feed ants and beetles, small links that drive the decomposition cycle. In return, the species requires multi-tiered forests with staggered fruiting seasons. In industrial monoculture plantations lacking fruit cycles, parrots are forced to gnaw on low-nutrient seed shells, leading to long-term health decline. By consuming seeds and defecating them over long distances, gray parrots disperse the genes of tree species such as Canarium, Nauclea, and Cola. Without them, seeds tend to accumulate under parent trees, where saplings compete intensely and suffer reduced genetic diversity. As a result, the presence of a gray parrot flock often overlaps with forests that have complete canopy structure. This makes the species a reliable biological indicator of rainforest health. In terms of resilience to natural disasters, the gray parrot has one advantage: its ability to fly 18-25 miles daily in search of fruit allows it to escape local wildfires. However, its slow reproductive cycle, only 2 to 3 eggs per clutch, with chicks dependent on parents for over 6 months, limits population recovery. Losing a single nest tree or capturing just a few breeding individuals can leave entire nesting grounds inactive for years. The Congo Rainforest is the second largest tropical rainforest ecosystem on Earth, following only the Amazon in scale and biodiversity. Its area spans over 500 million acres, stretching across 6 countries in Central Africa. This region is not just an expanse of forest, but a vital habitat for thousands of endemic plant and animal species, and a core system for regulating the continental climate. One of the most significant strengths of the Congo rainforest is its carbon storage capacity. This forest holds over 30 billion tons of carbon in its biomass and soil, the largest carbon stock in Africa. If deforested, the amount of greenhouse gases released would have a serious impact on the global climate. This makes the Congo a critical zone in efforts to mitigate climate change. However, this role depends entirely on the forest's integrity. When deforestation occurs, the ability to absorb carbon drops immediately. This is a key vulnerability without strong management systems. Beyond carbon storage, the Congo rainforest plays a vital role in regulating rainfall across Central and East Africa. Photosynthesis and transpiration from its dense canopy create humidity and rain clouds, helping to stabilize the local climate and support reliable water supplies. This process sustains agriculture and food security for tens of millions of people across the region. When forest degradation happens, this water cycle breaks down, leading to droughts, crop failure, and economic instability in rural communities. The biodiversity of the Congo rainforest is exceptionally high. This ecosystem is home to over 10,000 plant species. 400 mammal species, and more than 1,000 bird species. Among them, hundreds of species cannot be found anywhere else on Earth. This is a form of biological value that cannot be replaced. However, this biodiversity now faces the threat of extinction due to rapid forest loss. Recent data show that Congo loses an average of 1.2 million acres of primary forest every year. The main drivers are illegal logging, agricultural expansion, and infrastructure development without ecological planning. This process not only destroys habitat, but also pushes wildlife closer to human settlements, raising the risk of human-wildlife conflict. At the same time, the loss of biodiversity weakens the forest's ability to recover naturally. Deforestation creates major consequences across the entire ecosystem. It breaks the water cycle, dries out soil, increases the risk of forest fires, and reduces the humidity needed to support plant life. In parallel, the concentration of carbon in the atmosphere increases, accelerating the pace of climate change. Over millions of years of evolution, the Congo Rainforest has built one of the most complex biological networks on Earth. Lowland gorillas clear paths for young trees. Forest elephants disperse large seeds with their heavy steps through the mud. Dwarf crocodiles manage fish populations. Gray parrots carry seeds across long distances during flight. Microorganisms in the soil complete the decomposition cycle and return nutrients to the roots. Each group plays a distinct role, but all depend on one another to keep the rainforest system running. The massive tree populations of the Congo hold over 30 billion tons of carbon, slow the pace of climate change, and drive rainfall across Central and East Africa. When deforestation occurs, carbon escapes, water cycles are disrupted, and fire and droughts multiply, directly threatening food security for tens of millions of people. Protecting the Congo means securing a stable climate, safeguarding genetic diversity, and preserving ecological services that no human technology can replace. The future of gorillas, forest elephants, and the global climate cycle depends on the conservation decisions made right now.